is your freedom. And then, with intention, with consciousness, in the privacy, safety of home, allow yourself to fall to pieces. Just let them all go. Fuck it. I am nothing. I'm not a man. I'm not American. I'm not a father. I'm not white. I'm nothing. In the privacy, safety of home. Take a breath. 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 Detach. Let yourself, let yourself in the privacy, safety of home, allow yourself to fall to pieces. Just let them all go. Fuck it. I am nothing. I'm not a man. I'm not American. I'm not a father. I'm not white. I'm nothing. I love you guys. I really do. I know how silly that sounds. I hear myself sometimes. I love you guys. I really do. I know how silly that sounds. I love you guys. I really do. I know how silly that sounds. I hear myself sometimes. I love you guys. I really do. I love you guys. I really do. I hear myself sometimes. I love you guys. I really do. I really do. I love you guys. I really do. I know how silly that sounds. I love you guys. I really do. I know how silly that sounds. I hear myself sometimes. I know how silly that sounds. I hear myself sometimes. Hello again, brothers and sisters, and I think that video says it all. I love you guys. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another streaming show broadcast, another opportunity for Jack to share chats with Jack. And yeah, I did just drop the link for those who may wish to join. Today, I'm feeling kind of, it's the weekend, man. It's Saturday. It's a chance to chill out, at least for me, hopefully for you. Chance to detach from the craziness of the world, the craziness of what could be, and just relax. Um, that the intro videos, while I'll figure out the StreamYard and make the stuff a little smoother and better. But those video creations, give it up. Thank you, brother. Provo Kid, Provo King. Um, I'll drop the links and make sure they're in the description as we get going. But or later, I'll put them in the description too. Life is evolving kind of fun for me. And I realize my life is different than many others. My life is certainly different than it used to be. But change, man, change is what it's all about. So hopefully, what I am doing here, brothers and sisters, when I come on here for these streams, the purpose of my time, what I'm hoping to do is share some faith, some encouragement for you to kind of really go within yourself. Find more joy within yourself, more comfort in your being, right? Because this world can make us feel alone. These lives can get pretty tough. And I think that's all part of God's plans. So I do come on here trying to talk about my experience with faith, what I've felt and learned and experienced for myself. I had to separate myself from a few moments, or not long ago, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of beliefs about me that are actually irrelevant to. There's a lot of people that believe many things, right? We've got our religions, we've got our political systems, we've got this and that, we've got all sorts of divisions and hot topics that people will engage with and argue about. But what I've learned, brothers and sisters, is really it's just logic. You got to just stop and think. Is your opinion worth your unhappiness? Is your memory, is it helpful for today? Because detaching from the world and the worldly ways, it can feel scary, a little uncertain. You're a little different than maybe some others around you, maybe your family. But we're all on our own unique and individual paths of development. But somehow, some way, all of these paths of development are magically, mystically, divinely, we're all entwined with each other, right? And particularly those who you experience in your life, in the day of you. There's a lot of people, go through your day and look at how many beings look like you, people that you'll see and just never interact with. I got the idea, or heard the idea, they're background people for your life adventure. Whether or not you interact with them is partially your choice and partially the creator's choice. So there's a lot of background people, and then there's these layers of relationships that we have, where we allow ourselves to be open and vulnerable, maybe trusting. We've got all these layers of relationships that are normal in the world and normal for a person. Oh, I am the Tao. Bless you, brother. Hey, you are spot on. Thank you, my friend. Yes, the links to those video creations are in the where we're all on our unique and individual paths, but as is the micro, it's the macro as well. So the development of ourselves, it's within the family dynamic at first, and will always be through our life in some way connected to that family experience. Well, let me not assume. So I see right now in the greater collective the way the nation states are behaving, the aggressions that the politicians are performing. You know, the media's doing a great job of broadcasting, spotlighting the fears. So depending which political system you might lean with, regardless, the economic news is not it's not real good. So we've got the humanity as a collective has developed into where we're at today. Some fantastic, amazing innovations, technology. Many of the technologies we find out down the road, oh shit, that was bad. You know, but if you think in the mythological terms of good and evil, God, devil, we're here within the realm where temptation can lead us astray. And it's so perfect. It just makes so much sense. I mean, as far what I've come to learn and trust is the truth. And the truth, it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling that you have considered the facts, you've, objectively tried to comprehend, and the truth can be explained in many different perspectives. But that's why I am confident in the things I say. Maybe I express them, maybe I say things a little clumsily. I know people get confused by me. Holy cows. And I know it's not all their fault. Is it? The economic news is deceptively optimistic. Interesting. Admittedly, I'm speaking from ignorance. I've not looked into the current news or real close to things. Same with gas prices. Gas is an economic for the... Yeah, artificial, dude, this whole racket, the corporate structure and economic system, it is a... Humans are smart, man. They figured out how to use I'm speaking of those from the past who helped develop and grow us into where we are today. Humans have been studied, okay? There's people alive right now with the profession of social engineer, right? As I understand it, maybe there's other titles for these things, but advertising, marketing. All it is the understanding of the psychology of mankind, tie that to the emotions, the primitive drives that people have. Next thing you know, we're living currently in a combination of Brave New World and 1984, for those who may have some familiarity to those things. We got a combination of a surveillance state with the police force. We arm our police with the military grade equipment to bring warfare into the communities and use the excuse of greater surveillance for security. Right? It's all... Fear has been driving profits for a long, long time. It's through fear that the confused are controlled. The illusions of comfort and safety, The best way to imprison a man is to convince him he is free, right? Limit his choices, give him an opportunity to participate in the theatrics of elections. People feel like they've done something and they've involved themselves in the governance of their neighbors. When you look at the truth from a little different perspective, holy shit, man. Praise God. Praise God, the ultimate creator, the one of the universe that allows the days to be known. Praise God. I talked about this briefly earlier on the Proper Instruction Motivates People platform about spending time in a blissful state. Do you know that you can do that? You have the choice. It's not very difficult. Once you find your healthy method, it's actually pretty simple. And maybe you're worthy, but only you get to decide how much pleasure you're worthy of allowing yourself. Did you know that? You get to decide how much pleasure you allow yourself to receive. Are you selfish? I've become pretty generous with the ideas of pleasure, pleasing my spirit, hopefully pleasing God in some of the things I've done. I know I've made different choices than I used to make in the past. That's for sure. I've gone, well, we all have opportunities each day to see what type of person are we. Are we here for ourselves? We here for the government? We here for the corporations? We here for our family? Who are you here for? I love this question because I realize I'm speaking in kind of general terms. Generous with yourself to yourself. That is the key. Bringing your awareness, detaching your awareness and your focus rather than focus on the governments, what's happening in Ukraine or China or wherever. Stop focusing on outside of there or the economy, or stop focusing on even the past, on the memories. What we do is in the now, we make a lot of commitments and choices. Now, whether we're honest and follow through with those or not, that reveals our character. But we make our choices now, committing ourselves to doing something. Then we remember what we did, what we said, and sometimes we don't allow ourselves to change. Sometimes we've got to change, but we're not going to know what we can change if we're not paying attention to ourselves. And I just realized, Salty Siren, I didn't mean to make that response so confusing. But the main key I'm trying to impress on others to consider is the importance of focus on your awareness, right? What your mind is paying attention to, even while you're doing other stuff, right? What your mind is paying attention to is going to affect what's happening with your life. And a chaotic mind will bring a chaotic schedule. It'll bring a chaotic life, chaotic people. The goal and the key that I found for myself is by being generous with myself, loving myself, forgiving myself, being honest with myself, right? Holding myself accountable, even when others weren't around. When I started being more generous with the trueness of myself, with myself, I felt better. And I'm telling you, man, these bodies, these are some of my notes. We are energetic beings. We're so far beyond just what you feel and touch. We are so far beyond just that. We're energetic beings within a body. It's biological technology. This body is a meat suit. It's an angel suit. It's a vessel for our spirit to sense experience. Because it's through our senses, our sight, sound, flavor, touch. It's through our senses that we learn, we experience. It's through the language. It's through the language that we find our confusion. You know, this world has taught us to separate. It's taught us to do a lot of things wrong, right? To obey when you know it's not right, or to obey when you know you could be doing better. It's the society has taught many of us to settle. It's taught a lot of convincing partial truths have become what people fight for, right? They're willing to die for something they believe in, even though they may only know part of the story. So this question, my mind and eyes keep coming back to this question. Like, you mean be allowing? Yes. What I realized, if you can, like, if you break it into, and don't get hung up, if you allow loose use of the terms in the conceptual idea, the divine God, if you bring in the strong feminine aspect, is the one who is allowing. Everything is given with grace. It's generously expressed with grace, and all is allowed. The Creator will allow us to do what we want, but the logic, the rigid, the structure, the power, that's where the control comes in. And I know my own mind, I used to do a lot of I have tos, right? Carry a lot of responsibility. You get to carry more worry when you know you have to. Have tos create resentments. Have to is the mindset of the slave. And that's what I believe in the archetype of the devil. That's what the devil wants. The devil wants to control through our choices, through our acquiescence, our belief that I don't have any other choice. They didn't have any other choice. There's our minds with the limits, the limiting and have to, these paradigms we imagine within ourselves. We create our own confusion when we don't stop and think beyond the memories of what we already know. Oh, you know, I caught some of Jackie's readings this morning, reflecting in the stillness. That there was a pattern she identified too as the death and rebirth. And that was actually in my mind previously about topic to talk to today, because the death and rebirth, death is a scary thing in this mortal realm. It means the end, right? Well, the end is not always a bad thing. The end of an old is the beginning of something new. And we all go through these stages of life where we have to let the child die, right? The child within us. We can't continue our path of irresponsibility and the childish behavior. As we grow, we've got to allow the child part to fade away, I guess. And as we go through life, different occupations, different relationships, different habits, different paradigms of perspectives, different thought patterns will create the personality and behavior that you live. It's not bad to let the old you die away. It's really not. Oftentimes, it can be a sign of growth and development and maturity, perhaps. But we've got to be honest with ourselves about what do we want? What is true for me to express into the world? My insecurities in the past, I realized I've still got a pretty rough edge about me. I come off, well, there's angry cod is a thing. We for those who know, you know me. Angry cod is a thing, and I realize I come across with rough edges sometimes, and sometimes the way I explain things don't always come across clearly. But brothers and sisters, if you can find a way to understand what I'm offering, if you can learn from the experience of me, because that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing this for my ego, I swear. The only reason, well, I'm not going to contradict, I'm not going to deceive either. I do hope to become known in much greater fashion, but not as a celebrity, not as a guru. I know how to lead, but I don't want followers. I want to help others discover the leader within themselves, okay? Because every one of us, if you've got that spark of love within you, then you have a connection to the divine intelligence of all that is. That means you're here for a purpose. I know I'm here for a purpose, and I believe my purpose. Well, I don't know that I'm here for a purpose. My belief is that all things are, there is no thing created without purpose. There's cause and effect, and all things that are by purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose, and the purpose, I believe, is life. So in me and the path I lived, you know, the old lives I lived while in this body, they developed me into who I am today. And the purpose I've chosen for myself, the purpose, my intention for my time with others, with you, and anyone who may tune in later. My purpose is to help you ignite the spark within you so you can discover your purpose. And if I can help, if you can learn from the path I went to discover my own, if you can find your purpose, what's drawing you into the greater you, what do you need to learn in order to accomplish what you're here for? And, you know, maybe what we're here for, it changes, you know? We go through these periods in life, different relationships, different patterns, different experiences. You know, it's all for growth and development. And I really do think the treasures we're going to take to heaven, the treasures that will always be, those are the memories. I think it's the memories we're going to collect. Back to what the death and rebirth. That is the story of the Christ as well. We sacrifice ourselves willingly, the worldly self, you know, physically, just conceptually, mentally, intentionally, with your spirit and your mind. You sacrifice your old ways with the purpose of turning to God. God, I am here for you, with you, perhaps as you. These are God's eyes. I didn't make them. God's ears. I see, I hear the world through what I hope would be God's care. Although I limit my care. I know I'm no God for sure, but I am proud of who I'm developing into. I really am. Because if we don't take pride in ourselves, we won't offer ourselves. If I didn't find a way to find confidence in myself, and hey, here's a trick I learned for confidence. Break it down. Seriously, everything you're struggling with, break it down. Spend time, detach from the idea that it's a struggle, detach from the idea that you don't understand. If need be, bring someone else in, someone who you trust, someone who you trust cares about you and your success, your growth. So whatever it is, just detach from it and look at it objectively. How does it work? Right? Everything is cause and effect. Recognize the connection. And for me, when I did that with confidence, what is confidence? Confidence is just the memory. It's a state of being in strength from typically the memory of past success. So it's so easy for all of us to develop these habits of negative thinking, critical thought, real judgmental behavior. It's real simple to do. But there's nothing wrong with accepting your growth, finding the good in you, finding the good in the moments, finding the good in others. The good is from God. It's all there waiting for us. The good is all there waiting for us to capture it in our mind, bring it into our hearts, share it in our lives with others. Life. It's peculiar, isn't it not? But I really do. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in the chaos of this world, the 3D realm, the physical part, and lose sight of the spirit, the spiritual nature of everything. There are so many ways to connect to God. You know, that's one of the things I've learned. There are so many ways to connect to God. I think the way to recognize God for myself is love. And it is through the love that the truth pours forth. There's no secrets with love. We live in a fearful, confused, one could say a hate-filled world because people don't respect the truth. Truth is that which is real. You know, and just logic. It says this stuff in the Bible too, in the scriptures, but it really is just logical. If you don't love the truth, what are you going to do? You're going to imagine a false conclusion, and you're going to fall in love with delusions. People are delusional because they believe things that are not real are real. They don't believe. I don't know. The thought that came to me just now from my experience is the amount of disbelief that I've received. It's like I was thinking about earlier, some of the opinions, some of the things people say to me, the advice I'm given. It's obviously not coming, well, I won't say obviously. In many cases, it is apparent that is not coming from a place of respect, as though it's, I need to be told to respect myself less and to do illogical things. But people's disbelief is really not my problem. I'm here to offer you some of my faith. That was a treasure that I did not understand for most of my life, and it is by God's grace that I was finally humble enough, finally smart enough, pull my head out of my ass, start paying attention to what was real within me, what is really creating my life and me, and what surrounds me. It's all God, man. What's something that makes me feel happy? My greatest joy is, there's so many things. So many things make me feel happy. What makes me feel happy is me. There you go. I accept responsibility for my feelings. It's by God's grace that I'm allowed to feel happy. And if I can feel happy, I will choose to feel happy. And many times the path I go to when I choose to feel happy, I love learning new things. I love communicating with others. I love helping others. So I love to be of service to the world, service to myself. When I'm not sharing here or entertaining myself, hanging out with others online, much of my time it's thoughts on God. It's just fascinating. God, the spirit of life that we are experiencing. It's not just God that I think about. It's the evidence of the creation, the fact that physics and chemistry and biology and archaeology, geology, all of these things, those are just evidence, studies of the Creator's order. Because the Creator's order, I believe, is perfection. Seems to be shown through the perfection of structure that brings energy into form and light into life. Nubs, I see you brought your negativity for me. Nubs, you are a fascinating specimen. What's life? Thank you, brother. Even without the negativity of Nubs, and actually, you know what? I love being a grown man. I get to make choices, and I get to clean out my experience. I get to remove the things that don't bring me joy. Hey, someone asked what makes me happy. Kicking ass hats like that who don't have respect for me, kicking ass hats like that to the door, that makes me happy. I imagine God probably feels that way too. People that don't show respect to the truth, don't show respect to the Creator, don't show respect for life and the opportunities. I can imagine. Well, one of the messages I received recently too is the thought that many people should consider is one day we will be judged. And since all times are happening now, hey Nubs. Yeah, I got no problem banning you either. Hey HardHat, welcome, brother.
How you doing, brother?
Can we continue the conversation you started with your advice?
Just remind me what that was again, please.
Well, I remember my reaction to you was probably not as kind as it could have been. I know that. And I didn't mean to offer disrespect, and I didn't mean to exaggerate in what I said in the chat, but I've seen what I was doing was bringing memories of what you've said. You've said many things. Your disbelief has allowed you to say some things about me that are kind of disrespectful. You know, if we had a relationship, I would kind of pretty offensive. But so when I receive advice, suggestions from people who I know have been insulting towards me, I take it like that for what it is. So I didn't mean to exaggerate with the amount of negativity because you weren't being negative. You were offering what you felt was helpful, but you were doing so from a place where you've not accepted what I felt you probably should have known already. And that's my problem, my expectation. I don't know what anyone knows. I only know what I've said.
Well, I know I come off a little hard, but I think the one thing, and whether it's right or wrong, but during this whole 3 years we just went through, I just found that we've never talked truth in, like my whole life I knew shit wasn't right. I didn't follow stuff, but no one would we that's what happened with the sheep, right? They'll all dance over the top of something and not talk about. So for me, whether it's right or wrong, I was like, I need to wake people up. I need to speak very bluntly and very differently, right? And when I'm with the boys at work, you know, we talk when like possibly you wouldn't when there's women around. But then I got to the point where, man, people need to be shocked awake, because even with the facts and whatever, they just, oh, really, really? And then they go back to the CNN. And so that's my angle, but it doesn't work, right? Like most smart people, intelligent people, they don't go by that and they'll shut down right away. So I don't know, but I try to really shock and open up someone, but I try not to. I don't think I mean, I know you take it wrong because I'm coming at you, but I, you know, so that's where I'm coming from, basically.
Hey, brother, I trust you've got a huge heart. I've seen it. I know it. Um, and I trust you care for me too. Here's something though I want you to consider. My life is what it is, and I don't know how to explain it any other way. But I trust that in my experience, I've learned a lot of lessons, and I think you and others are learning a lesson with me as well. Trust. Okay. For whatever reason, the thing that I've not appreciated from you is you and many others make the claim you don't see me taking actions, that I'm not doing anything. There's been no change, no results. You're absolutely right. Now, here's what I want you to consider though. Number one, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I've been very open and honest and forthcoming about that. My daily choices are made with great faith. Okay. And the faith I have is that rather than people blaming me for what I'm dealing with, for the lack of change, I am knocking on so many doors. I'm waiting on so many people just to make a little time to have a conversation with me. So my life could change, HardHat. Swear to God, my life could change if what I'm hoping people may do eventually is help open doors of communication for me, help make introductions. Hey, this is Jack. This is so and so. Um, but HardHat, the lesson I've learned and what I came on here today, fellowship, weekend fellowship. That's my purpose is kind of hanging out today. But I was starting with the idea of my faith. We are part of a great unfoldment time. I don't know exactly how to explain. I don't know how to explain it clearly because I don't have a clear perception in my own head, but what we're experiencing is an unfoldment of time through the consciousness of our mind. And what we are today, we're evidence of the past with the potential for the future. So if we can start allowing our minds to go beyond what we've learned of in the past, if we can extend our minds into hope and out into the field, HardHat, if God is with us, and I swear, if I'm real, God is real, and if I'm real, I'm assuming you're real, and that would mean we're here, God is here, truth is on our side. I think it's time for humanity to end the wars and debts, right? That was the message from God to humanity through the Christ was, hey, a little forgiveness, not a bad thing.
I don't know. I said to Paul, and this I've been black pilled and I've come out of it or whatever, but basically, I don't know if there's so much changing humanity. It really is about our personal growth while we're here on Earth and our bubble we live in and our experiences life, how much we grow. I think literally that's what's about. I've heard the idea that if enough people were on that, it would change, that Fruit Loop fucking Aaron Rothschild guy, if enough people. But I really do think like we're all individuals. We all are a soul of the creator. And whatever the deal is, we're here for our growth and learning, right? I really do believe some of us maybe have been here before. It's who knows how many, whatever. I know for one, the creator didn't want me to have kids, right? He was like, take care of yourself. And I have this connection with animals. So I'm on a different trip than a lot of other people, right? But I really do think it's about me, our bubble, our growing, our experience, loving everyone, right? Trying. But in terms of this, we need to change the world. And I've said this, buddy. I'm in a city of over 1 million people. During the shit show, there was like 1,500, 2,000 people that would go down on a Sunday to protest, right? And I know protests are bullshit now, right? But it was like if we had 100,000, if we had 200,000 fucking slaves that would take one day out of their life on a Sunday to go down into the city, right? There's no crowd control with that. The police would be fucked. If they did that every Sunday, things might have been different during that time. But everyone is so afraid of the mortgage, the the house payment, the kids' shoes, the job advancement, fitting in with the social media fucking ideas and ways of thought. Like I've seen it, and that's where I'm at now. And of course, I could change. I'm open to go. Yeah, man, I used to think this fucking, but 2 years from now, I have a better understanding of it, right? But for where I'm at now, there's no changing anyone. This is all about us or me and you, right? And our growth, our learning. I don't know, buddy. There's so much beauty, but then mankind is pretty nasty, right? And for a long time. So,
Well, I think it's all by purpose. I've heard a lot of theories and explanations from different philosophers about the descent of mankind, the rise and fall of civilizations. There's patterns to a lot of this stuff. And and here's where there was a comment. I understand your logic behind losing some faith. Okay. I do understand that. I've lost a lot of faith too. And I used to be active with the protests and I used to go out with that. But one of the things I learned, and I still believe is effective, is when you get a group of people out there, you send in delegates or spokespeople to speak with as many decision makers as you can with whatever the issue is. It protests, the way I see it, protests is a symptom. It's a breakdown in communication. When workers go on strike, it's a breakdown of communication and agreement. So all of those things can be remedied when people get the hell out of their egos and they start fucking. This is what we've got. We've got a world full of people that are pretending. They're pretending like they are an occupation, right? They get a paycheck as a congressman or a legislator or an attorney or a doctor. They think that's what they are. A doctor I shouldn't have threw in there, but even them too, man. Some of them don't know health as well as they think they do. So HardHat, brother, here's the crazy part. I swear that my life, I'm saying this humbly, it's a possibility that no others have confirmed, but it's a possibility that my life has some significance, that the lessons from my life may be with the state of the world. I mean, my life went to there's a lot of connections, the micro and the macro. The lesson I've learned over and over in my life is start over. There's nothing wrong with starting over, from admitting you were wrong, picking up your toys and fucking moving to a different playground. There's nothing wrong with starting over. I've started over so many times in this life. I'm ready for big time now. I don't know. But HardHat, a world without corporate and government secrets, where there was no boss, there was just an organization of people who shared the same purpose. Where the guy sitting in the comfy air-conditioned office wasn't making 12 times the amount the guy worker on the front line is being paid.
Yeah, but this is where I'm coming from, Jack, is that this world is so entrenched and this system has been going since the Roman times that I understand this idea and I get it. And that's the way, if we wanted to be, how it was supposed to be under government and this and this and this, but it's not like that. And it's not going to happen. It's so big. There's people, Jack, that were in the thick of the fucking knowledge of the programs that spoke out. And if they weren't killed, their families were devastated, financially devastated, right? So I understand this, but this is like it's a fantasy thing. You could set your mind on something you could attain, right? That's where I'm coming from, and maybe I'm wrong. Trust me, I live in a camper, right?
HardHat, I love you, man. Here's where my life is at, though. It's been so challenging for me to accomplish my goal of having a conversation with anyone in town. I figured, why not? If I can't get anyone in town, my family, my friends, if I can't get any of their attention, I'll start reaching out to everybody. So yeah, I've reached out to government officials, to organizations, to different leaders, to different people of influence. I figured I may as well shoot for the unachievable, since I can't achieve what is reasonable.
But you can look at actual people that had legitimate causes and legitimate stuff that made it to the UN, got to do their speech in front of, when they get up there. The speech is made. There might be some clips on the fucking sheet media, but nothing productive or effective ever really happens, right? And if it does, there's some financial gain for some companies that they're gonna fucking suck it up, and then 10 years down the, yeah, well, this didn't really work. The technology was a bit off. We've got some, like, I'm telling you, buddy, it's about personal growth and not focusing on the shit show. Because I think when we focus on the shit show, we're like we're making their spell come to, right? We're giving their energy into their bullshit. I don't know, man.
Well, I see it as it's time. I don't know how it's going to happen. I know my goals and I know the type I am. I don't quit very easily. There's been it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because where I'm at right now is I live right now. The future is a dream. The past, it's done. But I live right now, and whatever God allows, that's what I'll be. But I know how it sounds. I really do. But from my perspective, after the life that I've been living, it only makes sense to me. I mean, if I want to fulfill this role, fulfill this goal, I set a goal to become a man more like Jesus, right? Consciously, intentionally. I committed myself to doing whatever I could to create a better world. And that was back in 2018. And I'm still trying, but the world has rejected me. So after my studies of God and consciousness, right, there's so much knowledge available right now. Everything became confirmed in different ways. And then in my own experience, the only thing I don't have is the results. But my very first goal was to grow in my levels of inner peace, to overcome my patterns of anger. And so if I'm going to follow through with that goal, I already have the Live Without Fear trademark, which is kind of with that, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Well, what is evil? The absence of God. I shall fear no fear. Fear is evil. Fear is what destroys us if we allow it. So in Jack's dream, I found my way to the way, and I want to follow the example by bringing the truth of God's love to the world so that everybody knows that we don't have to be wage slaves. We do not have to obey. We do not have to repeat the same habits. We don't have to carry. We don't have to. We've got generational debts that have been stacked up that people are just ignoring. And man, HardHat, if we're going to live, what I decided within myself is if God's going to allow me to live and I found my freedom, my inner peace brought my complete freedom, I want to end wars.
Hey, Jack, how about this? You said a little while ago, how about looking at something a little differently? You said, you tried all this stuff and the world rejected you and this and this. Why aren't you looking at it as, I've done all this stuff. It's been my life experience. I've learned this and this and this from this experience. And this is where I'm at now. And this is where I'm coming from, instead of the world rejected me. It's not rejecting you. It was you learning more because
You're
you
right.
weren't, you know what I mean? And so
You're
if
right.
you get this victim kind of looking that the world rejected me it's like, no, I was actually learning, and I've actually learned a couple more things, right? And we're still going to learn. Jack, in 20 years, you and I are going to be fucking light years even more on the concepts we think we're on, right? So this idea of the world has thrown, no, it hasn't. We're growing, we're whatever, we're figuring, but don't, it's not the world, buddy. It's, we're in charge of each other, and that's it.
My own little experience of the world. It's been challenging, but you're absolutely right. I've received many blessings of learning. I've had plenty of opportunities to to grow and to correct myself, to refine how I present myself. So I've been working on me, and I'll continue. But the future, man, I look forward to when change comes into my life again. I don't know what to do to make it happen. So without knowing what to do, I keep repeating a lot of the same, and that's kind of brought me to here. But eventually, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I do know that we are the generation where there's something going on. And sorry, I got a notice on my signal. We are at a very peculiar time in the evolution and development of humanity. I would hope there's not a lot of argument there. What with the advancements of AI, the technologies, the aggressions, the economic plans, the agendas, the well-known agendas, something will happen. Either people will finally give up in the darkness and start seeking God on their own, or I think hope will be shared through other messengers. In my life, I discovered messengers. That's the way I see them. They're sharing inspiring knowledge, wisdom freely. Those are messengers of God. That's where I've been learning from, and I appreciate all of God's creations. The day is God's creation. Today is a day worthy of celebration and thanks. At least for me, I have that comfort and the blessings to be able to say that with confidence. But I know there's other beings right now who are living different paths. And the way I see it is, we weren't here. I don't have memories of before I was born. And I don't know exactly what it's been like in other places of the world while I've been living. I only know the life I've been living. But when the structures of my own life, when the structures and security, the routines of my life, my job, my family, all of that stuff started falling apart, gave me an opportunity to separate myself from the enabling that I'd been allowing myself to accept. I had to go in deeper for me, figure out what was important. And I tell you what, when I detached from the job and stuff, that's when I discovered the actual conditions of the homeless situation in my own hometown. I was blind to the suffering of others because I was so caught up in my own head about my problems, my plans, all this crap. But when I started discovering some of the lives being lived right here in my community, the struggles they were facing. And then I started learning about the overcrowded jails and this corrupted, immoral legal system that we've got, as I started learning more and more about that stuff, I decided what I think is true for all of us is, I said this before, we will be judged. If anything, at the end, we will judge ourselves, perhaps with the Spirit of Jesus there with us. But we're going to judge ourselves with honesty, and I think the question we may have to answer is, what did you do with what you received? What did you do with the abundance that God has allowed you to receive, generate, and create for yourself? What have you done with the knowledge God has allowed you to learn? What have you done with the talents God has placed within you? I think we're all going to be asked. When it comes down to it, the truth is we have the judge, we have the pure awareness within us. And I think our minds and body are divinely created for the purpose of truth and life. And when we deny the truth, when we lie, it screws up our chemistry and all sorts of shit in our body. I don't know that I'm not a doctor. I can't prove that, but that's the way I understand the science. I don't know, man. Truth, it frees us from confusion. Love. Love is what unites. And I see a better world. Hey, HardHat, I don't know what... I know we have many of the same values. Maybe some differences in what we see as possible or for solutions. But I don't know if you saw, there was a guy named Michael who stopped by recently. His goal, his purpose is mankinder. To create kinder men. Now, you're a tough man. You've got that tough exterior, but you are a kind man. And I think that's what our world can use more of. That's what... It's kind men who allow women and children to feel safety. And I think that's our role.
I think possibly every man can be or could be kind, right? And it's all our upbringing. It's all what's the word I'm looking for? Not the upbringing, but our culture. It's a lot of things that I think all men could be kind, yet also be fucking men, right? And stand for what's right and what's true. And so I mean, I don't know. It's all a personal choice, right? It's all how... I don't know. I've had such a, in a way, a blessed life. The Creator's been with me. I've had a tough life in some regards, in some periods of my life, right? But I always persevered and came out, and learned. And so I don't know why me. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. Why me, right? Why do I have the spark of the Creator in me, right? And my one buddy, he didn't. He fucking... I think we all get kind of seduced by the devil or by this dark side in some times of our life when we go through shit. And some of us see that and feel it and go, man, this ain't good, and move on, and then and better ourselves. And then others, I don't know what it is, right? It's hard to say. It's and some just go with it, and of course, always it ends bad. Negative. Anything with I don't want to say Satan or the devil, but you know what I'm saying? Like any of this bad shit in life, unless you're way up there or whatever, your life's going to be shit. And even what's worse, they had this saying back in the program, but I used to say, it's how you sleep at night, right? I fucking sleep good, right? When I'm laying my head down, I'm stretched out. I don't have bad thoughts about what I've done today, who I fucked over, fucking what scam I got going on. You know what I'm saying? And when you don't have that, and you're just like, oh man, I'm tired, I worked hard today. it's good, right? It's really good, and it
Amen.
feels really good, and you don't then you don't need to self medicate, and you don't need to fucking try to make yourself look better or whatever in front of people because it's. But I don't know. Again, I'm on a path and I'm just trying to figure shit out.
HardHat,
Hey,
I'm not
Moose.
trying to interrupt you here, brother, but there's like a loud beeping, and I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
you know what?
actually.
Uh, Hey, it's gone now. I'm so sorry. I got my door open. It's like fucking 30 something degrees here. And I am gonna cut out here and get back into the sun and get some of that fucking Mother Nature sunshine on me. But yeah, I'm sorry. I
Good for
wasn't
you.
my door's
That's.
open. It's shut now. But yeah, beep
You were
beep.
hitting some good points though, so I was like doing my best not to say anything.
I know. I was. That's where I was at too. It was the beeping was annoying the hell out of me too. But you were bringing up some great stuff, man. Um, these lives, they're a journey, and the spark of the creator is definitely in you, hard hat. I see it. I see it. You shine it, and I think what you said too. Our culture, the generational patterns of our ancestry, it can bring a lot of influence into who we are and our innate feelings, our internal reactions. But we don't have to carry the past, and we don't have to allow the past to control us. The past is a gift so that we could learn from. The future, that's the newest gift. That's the present. It comes and arrives as the present. It's always to be discovered. And the reality is we don't know who we are, what we can become until we're actually faced with a new experience. And so sometimes it's real important to push ourselves into the fear. Fear is going to exist, but we don't have to allow fear to control us, and we don't have to allow fear to consume us. But if we can push ourselves into growing a little more in our love, in our wisdom, in our creativity, grow in our generosity, if we can allow ourselves to grow, we'll surprise ourselves. I've surprised myself by some of the things that I've allowed, overcome. I've, you know, this life is a mind game. Don't beat yourself up all the time. Find some things to be proud of and be honest. Oh,
Hey, I have a quote that it's kind of an off quote. I read it earlier today, right? It was talking about how the best way to like change the past is to be right now in the present, because the present is going to end up the past, like, you know, right after the present. So if you do good in the present and you focus on the present, you just be where you're supposed to be right in the present, then your past will be good.
absolutely. And if you can remember that, if you can remind yourself that, when the past starts coming in and getting you worked up, you can remind yourself, I made it to here. And the way I feel now will start creating what I'll remember later. And if you can keep that in your mind, that what you're doing now is going to be your memory later, do the things that you'll want to remember, right? Um, push yourself in your profession, push yourself with your relationship. Well, my mind there was thinking ask someone out, but I don't know. Hey, Hard Hat, you inspired the idea. I may head out and absorb some of the warm sun today too. Get some fresh air. I want to thank you guys for joining. Anything
Thank you,
else?
Jack. Bless
Hey,
you, brother, and I hope you guys have a great night.
much love, respect. Thanks for showing up again, Moose. Hey, well, so it's said publicly. I said some I said some insulting things describing Moose yesterday, and it wasn't appropriate. Moose is a good guy. There's a lot of good guys, good men and women. There's more than we realize often, because it's quick to jump to these conclusions that others are doing wrong or dangerous or something not to be trusted. But I've been blessed. I know how blessed I've been, and my blessings are seen. I'm sharing time with some wonderful people here on the panel, and especially to those who tuned in. I'm going to wrap this up seriously. The point I wanted to get to, though, allow yourself to think, right? Just logically. Detach from the world, pause yourself, allow yourself to think, and go within to determine importance for you. Importance from your perspective on the world. What is important to you? What is important for today? Where can you find your gratitude? Where can you share some joy, some blessings? Make it a game, man. It's your life to live. No one else gets to be you. No one gets to tell you how to be you, but be you respectfully and generously and honestly and lovingly. Love being you. And allow yourself to grow. Allow the old to fade and the new to be discovered. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you again, brothers and sisters. Choose love. And again, some love to Provo for the mixing and editing the video. Peace and love, everyone. God bless.